long time no see. This is Zach D. Roberts from AroundTheLens.com. I really hope everyone's doing well. I hope everyone, especially the photographers out there, aren't going completely and totally stir crazy, not being able to just freely get out on the streets and cover things and do things that like I am. Which is why one of the reasons why I'm doing this video is because I need to do something. And unfortunately, even with all the other terrible news that is out there, we've had, even in the middle of this crisis, some setbacks when it comes to photojournalists and copyright rights. A recent, as in this week, court case just came down. It is Stephanie Sinclair versus Ziff Davis and Mashable Inc. If anyone has ever had any dealings with Mashable.com, I think as a photographer, we probably know where this is going. So a couple years ago, Mashable.com was doing one of their list type things, you know, no original content can be found, but at least this one had like a good kind of intention to it. In so much as it was listing female photojournalists that work on social justice that should be followed and you should check out. Unfortunately, but not shocking, they weren't paying for anyone's work. So when they were showing examples in this list, they were either getting the photos courtesy of, or just embedding people's Instagrams. And this is where this comes up. Stephanie Sinclair was approached by Mashable to get one of her photos for this article. She said, okay, pay me. And they said no, and then just went to her Instagram page and used an embed of one of her photos from there. And that's when she filed a lawsuit, probably not immediately, but she filed a lawsuit, and 4 years later, because it was in 2016, 4 years later, we now have at least the initial court ruling, hoping that this will go up higher or be overturned. I don't know what, but Judge Kimba Wood cited Instagram's terms and conditions that offer, quote unquote, fully paid and royalty-free transferable sub-licensable rights and to people who would like to share the images. There's a Verge.com article that I'll share in the links that I kind of based a little bit of this commentary on, and also just reading the court case and other things. The links to the court case, the documents and everything like that are in this the Verge.com article. But what we have here is something that is different than, say, what happened previously with Instagram. If everyone remembers a couple years ago, I think it was 8 years ago, I think it was 2012, that they had terms and conditions on their updated on their site that basically people thought meant that they could sell their images. It did not. It was just kind of adding specific language to since Instagram was becoming more of a platform, not just for sharing photos of your lunch and things like that. It was becoming a platform for the grammars, you know, the people who like make a living by posting photos about food and sponsorships and things like that. Unfortunately, it was really badly worded, and so the internet freaked out. Tons of people, at least in my remembrance, tons of people left the site. Many still never to come back. And but kind of ever since then, if not earlier, photojournalists like Youngie Kim have been warning people to stay off of the site. Youngie Kim posted this on on Facebook originally, which is kind of what got my attention on it. And she was saying that she was recommending people to either. She initially made like a post that's recommending people to post something like that, and also basically put their accounts on private, and saying that if Instagram was going to hopefully notice that people are not interacting as much, and that's how they make their money, is people interact, people see each other, traffic and advertisements and stuff like that. And so my idea though was, if people don't want to make their account private, which at first I don't want to. I may in the future, but my thing is share this image. It'll also be obviously at aroundthelens.com. I'll be sharing it on my Instagram page as well. So there's tons of ways you can grab this one in particular if you want, or feel free to adapt it. And also if you think that the language that I used is weird, or you think you have some better language, tell me. I'd feel free to update it and provide better ones or something different. But my idea is because the terms and conditions allow websites, everyone from, I've seen stories where everyone from the New York Times to places like Mashable and other sites have used Instagram embeds in news stories, basically as opposed to buying a photo, which is not really what it's meant for, the sharing terms or whatever. And I think that just comes down to really that the terms and conditions, again, with Instagram are badly worded. And also, one big thing that I hope that comes out of this is that I hope that Instagram updates their terms and conditions, or at least has a little button like YouTube has, which is, I don't want this to be able to be embedded. Simple, right there, solves everything. I've talked to a couple photographers who all say they literally add that little choice, boom, they're back on Instagram and they're sharing and that sort of thing, because they will just click that. Because I personally don't mind people seeing my images, share, commenting, liking, that sort of thing within the guise of what it is, because especially considering the things that I post when it comes to covering extremists and covering protests and that sort of thing, is that I hope that if I post something on Twitter, I post something on Facebook or whatever, that it is at least more difficult to remove my commentary from it, my specific caption or whatever else I want to add. But with Instagram, you just throw it on there. It's the caption's not there necessarily, it's just the image and it's whatever. But if somebody wants to really use it, they have to screenshot it, and then that becomes outside of the terms and conditions of Instagram and immediately becomes a copyright infringement case, and I can actually do something like that because my rights have been infringed. Twitter has had court cases that kind of had established them and the court's understanding of their terms and conditions in a different way. So I personally will still be sharing on my images on Twitter, just absolutely with watermarking. And if you decided that you're going to go, no, fuck it, I just want to stay where I am on Instagram and I don't like it, but I'm going to keep using it because it's beneficial to you, then I can't recommend. This is a more important time than ever to not just watermark, not just a little thing in the corner there, but heavily watermark, because more and more websites are going to start using people's embeds and that sort of thing, especially after a court case like this, kind of certifying that they can do it freely and not in a fair use sense, which is, discussing and analyzing the image the way that like websites like Reading with Pictures does, in their commentaries and things like that. So again, this image, she lost her case. We don't know if at this point, because it was literally I think yesterday or the day before, and we don't know if they're going to actually bring it to a higher case or if it's anything else is going to come along. But I'm kind of asking everybody to, if you feel this way, just post this image and maybe don't post anything else going forward until at least they have enough. Maybe somebody on Instagram, people get this awareness that they understand that people are not happy about their images being shared in a way that they don't necessarily want. And I know, again, it's social media, so it is what it is. And we all kind of have to, as photojournalists, we have to live within those means. But, let's think about what we're doing, and maybe if we use our collective weight as the people that provide the kind of high quality content for this site and make them incredible sums of money. Let's remind, Instagram was bought by Facebook. It's a part of a 20-some billion dollar corporation, if not more at this point. And so we should, even if we're not getting paid for our information and shared for our image, we should at least not lose out on that 100%. So anyway, that's kind of it. I hope that everyone is staying well. I hope everyone's getting access to the PPE that they need. Please like and subscribe and share and do all those things that you do on the interwebs. Except for Instagram. Don't do it there.